It's 8 a.m. on Local 4 Live, and there is a lot happening on this Thursday morning. The big story is in Ann Arbor, where we're getting the explosive details surrounding the now former Michigan head football coach, Chiron Moore. Plus, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan is saying farewell to the city and is sharing his thoughts on 12 years in office with our Rhonda Walker. And while we're dealing with the cold and snow here in Michigan, the Pacific Northwest is evacuating thousands of people due to heavy rain and what's being called a river in the sky. The Thursday edition of Local 4 Live starts right now.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good Thursday morning. Thank you so much for joining us for Local 4 Live for this 11th day of December 2025. I'm Jay Scott Smith, and Wednesday's slushy mess has become Thursday's frozen one, thanks to another night of bitter cold temperatures. Let's take a look at the weather around Metro Detroit right now. Starting here in downtown Detroit, it is currently 23 degrees. Unfortunately, it feels like 11. We head out to Macomb County, where it is also 23 degrees in Mount Clemens. And guess what? It's also feeling like 11 degrees out there. Meanwhile, in Mount Holly, if you want to hit up the slopes this weekend, they're officially open for the season. But right now it is 22 degrees and it feels like 9. Make sure you dress warm out there no matter where you're going. Let's take a quick look at our traffic maps, and your commute looks and feels vastly different from this time yesterday. You see lots of green out there. That's always a good thing, but there's also a little bit of yellow. That's just a part of the normal morning rush. We'll have a deeper look at the forecast with Brian Sherman coming up later on in this half hour. And now the big story today is the one that everyone is talking about, not just across Southeast Michigan, but across the country. You are looking live at the Washtenaw County Jail, and that's where now former Michigan head football coach Chiron Moore spent last night. He was stunningly fired yesterday just after 4 p.m. and then ended the night in police custody, accused of assault. Local 4 has confirmed that police did detain Moore late on Wednesday afternoon. Our Shante Passmore has the latest.
Good morning. Right now we are standing outside the Washtenaw County Jail where Chiron Moore is being held. And within the last 24 hours, bombshell developments surrounding over how the former head coach of U of M lost his job. Now we should point out that this investigation spans multiple areas. So here's a look at that timeline. Pittsfield Township Police say officers responded to an alleged assault Wednesday around 4 p.m. Now, the department did not identify Moore as the suspect in their official release. However, it was the Saline Police Department that helped track and detain Moore, turning him over to Pittsfield Township PD. The University of Michigan fired Moore following an investigation and found he engaged in an inappropriate relationship. The university athletic director said the conduct violated university policy and emphasized the school's zero-tolerance stance. Local 4 did speak to a Michigan insider to walk us through the fallout, who's also reporting Moore is being held at a mental health institution.
This is nothing but bad for Michigan. There's no question about that. I will, however, give the leaders points for handling this apparently swiftly and concretely once they had all the information. But why it wasn't done earlier, I don't know. But you also have to give, I guess, some credit that they did it because they had the information they had, and then that was enough.
And we should also point out that this is all going down as the Wolverines brace for their next big game against Texas on New Year's Eve. Now the football program basically finds itself on the brink of having to rebuild its program. So coming up in the next 30 minutes, we're going to have much more on this very big story, plus how it's going to be challenging to find Moore's replacement. In Ann Arbor, Shante Passmore, Local 4.
Now, of course, we're going to be following this story all day long here on Local 4. You can find every update at the top of our homepage on clickondetroit.com. And of course, we'll also send out push alerts straight to your phone from the Click on Detroit app. Coming back to the city, more testimony is expected today in the case of Mario Willis. He was convicted in 2008 in connection of the death, or with the death, of Detroit firefighter Walter Harris. And now Willis wants his conviction tossed after a key witness, Darren Dove, changed his story. In court yesterday, his lawyers challenged the investigation and the investigator that found the fire was intentionally set.
Frankly, I'm not blaming you. It's not your fault you didn't know about Darren Dove. Nobody told you about Darren Dove, right?
Correct.
Till after the trial.
Correct.
Till after it was too late and Mr. Willis was already convicted, right?
Yes.
So as you sit here today with the evidence you've been presented about Darien Dove, you would have to say, as an ethical expert and intellectually honest expert, right now I'd have to say it's undetermined.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Now, Local 4 will be in the courtroom when the hearing resumes later this morning. And we'll stay in the city of Detroit, where the chaos at the Leland House apartments continue over on Cass and Bagley. Last night, residents were told they have to evacuate. After last month, when residents were told to evacuate on the day after Thanksgiving, then later allowed to stay after the owner paid a more than $57,000 debt to DTE Energy, they're now being forced out again, this time because a building malfunction caused a power outage. And the fire marshal has ordered a mandatory evacuation until repairs are made and completed. It comes less than a week after promises were made in court that power would stay on despite the money being owed at the time to DTE, who says the power outage was caused by a set of customer-owned equipment and not by the utility. The city is working to provide temporary housing for any displaced residents. And now you're getting a live look at the campus of Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti. And that's where the university is welcoming a new president. The Board of Regents has picked Dr. Brendan Kelly as Eastern Michigan's 24th president. He takes over for James Smith, who's set to retire next year. Now, Kelly, who's currently the president at Arkansas State University, is a Flint native and Eastern Michigan alum. He also has a reputation for boosting enrollment as well as finances. And Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan is set to leave office in 3 weeks after spending 12 years leading Michigan's largest city. And he's reflecting on his time as mayor and talking about what he sees for Detroit in the future. Mayor Duggan sat down with our Rhonda Walker for a one-on-one exit interview.
Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan for at least a few more days.
Yeah.
Are you ready for former in front of your name?
Oh, I'm definitely ready.
Yeah?
So it's been great, but a lot of packing and getting ready to move. And, I'm watching Mayor-elect Sheffield do such a good job of doing the transition. It feels like it's time.
What is that transition like as you move out of the Manoogian? You just like hand the key off, or what happens?
Yeah, I do. Of course, there's security at the Manoogian, so the security will stay when I go. But Sonia and I had the mayor-elect and Ricky over for dinner a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
As this city gets to know the new first gentleman, they're going to like him a lot.
Wonderful.
And so we're walking through the house, showing them what's involved, and it's a natural transition.
What are you going to miss?
Well, the way the people have treated me in this city has been amazing, really for 12 years. When the city was up or down, we had those terrible months during COVID when you didn't know who was dying tomorrow, and I was on TV every day. I couldn't believe how many handwritten cards and letters and people telling me I looked tired and I needed a rest.
You're like, well, I am tired.
I say, you don't need to tell me that anymore. I already got it. But in our toughest times and our best times, people in the city have just been wonderful to me.
Well, one of the things that we always hear about is the neighborhoods, and I think that's a nice segue to talk about the people of Detroit. And even now, as we look into the next, term of the new mayor-elect, it's still this scream for what about the neighborhoods. Let's talk about then and now. Take us back to where we were to remind us how far the city's come.
Again, when you call it a scream, the last Detroit News poll shows 84% of the people in this city are happy with the job I'm doing, and 80% feel safe walking in their own neighborhood. So the screaming to me is maybe amplified from reality. But every neighborhood is different. We have 600 block club presidents in this city that have done so much to improve their community. And we've had areas like the Midwest area down near Livernois and Tireman that was basically abandoned railroad lines with thousands of tires. We built the new Joe Louis Greenway through their backyards. They have one of the most beautiful parks anywhere in America, and property values have come back and people are fixing up their houses. You go over to the Bagley area off of McNichols and Livernois, and we rebuilt that streetscape, and all those boarded up stores now have shopping inside. And so it's been a story of one neighborhood after another, but the block club leaders in this community have done a tremendous job, and University of Michigan has shown that homeowners grew $5 billion in wealth in 12 years. And so there's certainly more to do, but we've come a long way.
And when you look upon what you've been able to do, are you satisfied with what you were able to accomplish over those 12 years? Do you feel like job well done, or did you leave something on the table?
The city of Detroit has declined in population since 1957. It was 70 years of decline. And so I knew when I came in, I wouldn't finish the job. Mary Sheffield won't finish the job. The next mayor after her may not finish the job. But my role was to stop the decline. We were still in free fall on population, businesses moving out, police officers quitting, making $15 an hour and being forced to work 12-hour shifts. It was really scary how fast the city was declining in 2013. But I feel today like it's on a good trajectory. I think the next mayor is going to build on it.
So how did you do it? Take us back to 2013 when we had that, unemployment rate was high, blighted homes were high, street lights were out. I mean, we were just coming out of bankruptcy.
We were in bankruptcy. So at the time I got elected, we'd been in bankruptcy for 6 months. And the first thing was what Judge Rhodes did and Judge Jerry Rosen did in the bankruptcy. The biggest bankruptcy in the country before that had been Stockton, California, that went on for 3 or 4 years. Every month your city's in bankruptcy. You've got lawyers and consultants taking millions out in fees. And Judge Rhodes demanded the bankruptcy hearings be over in a year and a half. That was probably the single biggest boost, is he wouldn't tolerate the delays. And that allowed me to focus on rebuilding the city. But no, that first year we had 47,000 abandoned houses owned by the land bank. Today we have 1,000.
Wow.
And it's been quite a run.
It has been quite a run, and when you look at the change and the improvements that the city has made over these last 12 years, are there some key moments, some key accomplishments? I mean, you talked about the green space. You kind of lit up about some of the changes in the neighborhoods. Do you point to certain ones to just say, man, we did it? I'm really proud of that.
You know, we had to do everything at once. We had blight. We had 275 closed and overgrown parks. We had to rebuild those. We had 65,000 street lights, most of which were out. We had to turn the lights on, but probably as far as quality of life, the year I ran, we had 750 carjackings in this city. It's a terrorizing experience on everybody, and nobody was coming to town. But we built out the real-time crime headquarters. We hired more cops, and this year, with a couple of weeks to go, we don't have 750, we have 76, 90% reduction in carjackings. And I think the level of safety in this city probably has been as transformative as anything in the residents' experience.
When I think about you, I think about partnerships and relationships and bringing people together. And one part of that is your negotiation skills and the partnerships you had with nonprofit organizations, with automotive suppliers, automotive companies, banks, hospitals, getting people to come here, to expand their footprint here, and not just invest with their business, but you always had that negotiating tool that said, well, what are you going to do for the city and the people of Detroit?
Well, 200,000 people moved out in the decade before I got elected, which is just a stunning number.
Yeah.
I didn't get elected by the people who moved out. I got elected by the people who stayed. And so when I sat down with Fiat Chrysler and said, we're going to put a deal together for you to bring a 5,000 employee Jeep assembly plant here, I want Detroiters to get the first interview. And they agreed, and we hired really thousands of Detroiters into those jobs. And with Henry Ford Hospital, again, emphasis on Detroiters doing the work and building it. And you go one after another, Dan Gilbert, Chris Illich, Gary Torgo. I had good partners who were willing to put Detroiters first. And it became easy. And of course, City Council backed me up on all of these projects because they knew Detroiters were being put first in every single deal.
From training to making sure that someone who lives in Detroit gets that job or gets that loan from these banks to be able to start their own small businesses and communities.
So we've gone from a 20% unemployment rate to 8%. I'd like to get it down further, but I'm confident the next mayor will get it down further still. But these are the kinds of things that you think about. I think about the homicides being down almost 200 a year, and you think about 200 residents of this city each year are alive. That would not have been had we not changed the direction of the police department and our community violence intervention teams. Some of that stuff's powerful, and Detroiters, in their interactions with me, they deeply appreciate that.
Absolutely. I mean, and not just people that live in Detroit, that people that come and visit as well. I had a conversation with someone who lives out of state that was like, man, Detroit's awesome and it's safe and you can just hang out and come downtown, and it's like, I've been here my whole life, just like you. I know there were times when people who maybe were from Detroit, lived out of state, wouldn't even say they were from here because there was not that sense of pride. Now we're wearing it on our chest, you know, born in Detroit. Detroit versus everybody. It's been a big shift.
The shocking part is the number of times I talk to people who are from Birmingham or Plymouth and say I had friends in from out of state, and I took them downtown. They are treating Detroit, downtown Detroit, as their city, and they're proud of it, and they're showing it off. That you couldn't have imagined that 10 or 12 years ago.
And you're a native Detroiter, so that has to make you really proud.
I still see the world through the eyes of my grandma, who lived on 3 Mile Drive on the east side of Detroit, where my father grew up. And of course, I was a kid who came downtown to the 12th floor of Wonderland to see Santa every year. These were our shared experiences. And to see, last Saturday, I was downtown on a freezing day, and the sidewalks were filled with shoppers carrying bags. I said, I had to stop.
Where am I?
I had to pull over and stop and say, this was my childhood. People on coming up to Christmas, walking down Woodward carrying shopping bags.
Now, coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, Mr. Duggan is going to take us inside of some of his biggest negotiations, and that includes bringing the Pistons back to downtown Detroit. And you can see the entire interview right now on clickondetroit.com or on our YouTube page. But, hang out here and watch the rest of Local 4 Live first. Now, thankfully, we're not going to see as much snow as we did yesterday, but forewarned meteorologist Brian Sherman says there still will be more snow in the forecast. And while we're dealing with the cold and snow out here, the Pacific Northwest is dealing with what they're calling a river in the sky. We'll tell you more about it coming up when Local 4 Live returns. And welcome back to Local 4 Live. And here's a live look at Seattle. You see the Space Needle right there. Well, right now, the entire state of Washington is facing potential historic flooding that's forcing thousands of families to evacuate. In fact, about 100,000 people are being told to evacuate as heavy rain, flooding, and mudslides sweep through the state. Now, Washington Governor Bob Ferguson has declared a state of emergency, warning that some rivers could hit record high levels. And video shows water rescues happening in several spots in south central Washington. 2 huge mudslides have also blocked parts of a freeway.
I found myself stuck on a little piece of land out there with my 4 cats and had to wade through water up to my chest in order to get to dry land. It was very cold and very swift.
So what we're doing right now is we're providing obviously shelter beds, meals, dry clothes, a place for their pets.
The situation is extremely serious. The next few days are going to be very critical. The impact on Washingtonians is significant now, and it's going to be significant in the coming days, and that is an understatement.
Rain could last into tomorrow. Meteorologists are calling this phenomena an atmospheric river. So what exactly does that mean? Well, let's welcome in forewarned meteorologist Brian Sherman for the answer. Brian, What is an atmospheric river? It doesn't sound good.
No, it's not good in any stretch of the imagination. An atmospheric river, Jay, is where the upper level storm track, as you can see on our graphics here, that's running off the Pacific Ocean into Washington, right over Seattle and northwestern Washington. That's helping to fuel system after system after system, giving them the rain that is causing the flooding and the mudslides. That upper level storm track goes right over Washington, then down into the Midwest, and is actually what is keeping our forecast active as well. Doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon, so they're going to have continued problems there in the Northwest with the flooding and the mudslides. It'll be really interesting to see how this plays out over the next 5 to 7 days.
While we may not see like a direct hit like what they're seeing, what is coming through here, it starts out west because all weather goes pretty much west to east.
West to east for the most part. So those systems, they come off the Northwest, down into the Midwest. The upper level storm track drives our systems. Then it rolls it down into the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes, which is giving us snow event after snow event after snow event. Luckily, here at home today, you can see there the atmospheric river. Look up in the left-hand portion of your screen there. So rain, rain, and rain showing up over the Pacific Northwest. So they're going to be dealing with it for at least a couple more days. Here at home, snow, the big headline. The numbers yesterday, quite impressive by the time we got to yesterday afternoon. 7 inches of snow over in Lake Orion, 6.2 inches in White Lake, 5 inches of snow yesterday in Bloomfield Hills, 3.5 over in Ann Arbor, and 2 inches of snow over in Livonia. I'm going to keep a few flakes into the forecast today, but nothing like what we saw working through Wednesday. Exact Track 40 radar this morning already showing a lot of blue on there, so you will encounter some flakes or maybe an isolated snow shower this morning. Give yourself some extra time as you're heading out the door. A lot of those side streets this morning, too, still snow and ice covered from yesterday's snow. 24 degrees here in Detroit, but once you factor in the wind chills this morning are into the teens and even some single digits north of the metro this morning, feeling like 8 degrees above zero right now in Sandusky. Temperatures today not going to move a whole lot just because of that northwesterly flow kicking in and the cloud cover. That's what's going to give us this few snowflakes or an isolated snow shower today behind that low pressure system. Clouds and radar forecast agrees with it. Mostly cloudy skies for majority of the day today, and then the blips of blue showing up through the afternoon and into the evening hours tonight. It may be a little more widespread than what clouds and radar forecast is leading on to looking at radar this morning, but then we lock onto our next chance of snow moving in by Friday afternoon and into Friday evening. So we'll start the day dry tomorrow, but by 11 to 11:30 tomorrow night, there's our next system moving in. Friday night into Saturday, maybe a light accumulation again as we're waking up Saturday morning. But behind that system, it gets dangerously cold. Wind chill forecast, our feels like forecast by 5 a.m. Sunday morning. Wind chills of 10 to 15 below zero are expected. And this is flirting with cold weather advisory criteria. So we're going to keep a close eye on this as we go throughout the next 24 to 48 hours. But if you want to warm up, you may get it by Christmas. The 8 to 14 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, December 19th through Christmas Day, December 25th. Above average temperatures start to move into a good chunk of the lower 48. That includes Metro Detroit. So we may start to climb out of the freezer just in time for the holidays. 29 today, mostly cloudy, a few snowflakes, continued cold, winds gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour heading throughout today as well. Snow moves in late Friday and into Saturday. Again, a light accumulation possible by early Saturday morning. Then overnight lows Sunday morning and Monday morning well into the single digits, wind chills below zero. Then the warm up moves in, Jay. We're into the upper 30s by Wednesday. Rain. That's a change in the forecast we haven't talked about in a while, save yesterday, by Wednesday.
We get a chance to actually kind of maybe get rid of some of this snow cover.
It would be nice because I bet you money the car washes are going to be busy over the next few days.
Including the one that needs to hit my car right about now, too. Because it is
ready to go. So
it's looking a little rough out here. Thank you so much, Brian. Now, coming up after the break, we're going to have a Local 4 update. Plus, a holiday tradition is happening out at Somerset. It's the Say Detroit Radiothon. And we'll take you there in just a few minutes. And then we're heading back out to Washtenaw County, where former Michigan head football coach Chiron Moore is sitting in a jail cell at the Washtenaw County Jail. We'll have more on the investigation when Local 4 Live returns at the bottom of the hour. Good Thursday morning. I'm Jay Scott Smith with a Local 4 update. And the University of Michigan fired head football coach Chiron Moore yesterday after it was revealed he was having an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Just a few hours later, he was taken to the Washtenaw County Jail for an assault investigation. Moore has not yet been charged. We'll have updates throughout the day on clickondetroit.com. Now, if you're headed out the door and want more Local 4, you can stream Local 4 Live right now on the Click on Detroit app. And coming up, we're headed out to Somerset Mall for Mitch Albom's Say Detroit Radiothon. And then the Fed cut interest rates for a third time this year. We'll have a look at what that means if you're in the market for a new car or a new home. And the Lions are getting ready for a huge game on Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams. We'll hear from Lions quarterback Jared Goff about the matchup with his former team. Ryan Sherman's going to have a look at your Thursday forecast coming up.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
And welcome back to Local 4 Live on this Thursday morning. I'm Jay Scott Smith. It's 8:30 and we continue to keep an eye on the Washtenaw County Jail as we wait for any sign that former Michigan head football coach Chiron Moore will be released this morning. Now, Moore was fired yesterday for having an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. He was then taken into custody last night because of an assault investigation. Our Shante Passmore is in Ann Arbor with an update.
Good morning. A major development coming from overnight from a Michigan insider who is now reporting that Chiron Moore is detained in protective custody in a mental health institution. And now this revered football program finds itself caught up in this major headline. This morning, we are learning explosive details surrounding the now former head football coach. We can confirm that Moore is in Washtenaw County Jail due to an assault investigation. His run-in with police came just hours after he was fired as the head football coach yesterday. We have also confirmed Pittsfield Township Police are now handling the assault investigation. And it's really important to note here, Moore has not officially been charged with any crime. This new twist comes after the university confirmed to Local 4 Moore was fired over a relationship with a staffer. Who that staffer is or what their role was with the team has not been released. Meanwhile, a Michigan insider posted this on X, citing reliable sources writing in part, this employee presented irrefutable documentation about Moore's conduct to U of M leaders. The president and regents had seen enough, and Manuel fired him.
It's clearly a severe situation, a serious situation. And Chiron Moore, man, he was given a job that he probably would otherwise not have gotten. As Jim Harbaugh's assistant, both Jim Harbaugh and Ward Manuel, the athletic director, believed that he was the guy for the job. But it's a lucky break from a huge break. And here he has squandered all of it. And on top of it, you mentioned the pragmatic question, which is what's going to happen with the coaching search. There are like 10 or 15 openings already. I think maybe more like 20 by now. So the coaching carousel has already long since begun, about a month or so ago. So Michigan will have some very heady competition to replace Chiron Moore in this situation.
And meanwhile, the athletic director said the university has zero tolerance policy on these incidents. We're in Ann Arbor. Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
Thank you so much, Shantae. And also happening right now, Mitch Albom is holding his annual Say Detroit Radiothon out at Somerset Mall, and he'll be on the air for 15 hours raising money for his nonprofit. Now, they already cracked the $100,000 mark, and we'll be streaming the event all day right here on Local 4 Plus. And we're going to give you a bit of a listen.
All right. What's it look like, Courtney? You can see from there.
It's looking very... Rocco knows what he's doing here. It's a thing of beauty, right?
That's right. You know, when you work on tips, you gotta do that.
Theoretically, we could have just put some milk on it and had a cat lick it off.
My wife
doesn't it feel better already, Mitch?
Honey, keep him away from my neck.
Yes.
He's going to take a couple inches off the top there, Mitch. Don't worry about it.
Careful.
Is that red liquid supposed to be there?
That is blood. You got to get
Boy, that's nice.
Now.
That's nice. There's a weird rumor that you actually started growing this as a freshman at Columbia.
All right, Miss, how's it feeling so far?
You know, it would be good to have a mirror because I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. Please tell me.
You are faced, Mitch. You are just barefaced. That's it.
Courtney, from the viewers' post here, what are we seeing?
It's done.
Is it gone?
It's done.
Well, it's gone?
Yeah, but now,
oh my God, who is that person? Well,
we're not finished
okay,
yet.
This is all right. It's gone. $30,000 to charity, and it's gone. And my wife is happy. You're good, honey? Okay. Rocco, thank you for. Oh, there's more?
Oh my God, Mitch.
Okay. This is a closer shave. Okay.
Ooh. This is the straight edge.
That was the first rung.
Here comes the lady shake.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, what's this thing?
Is there a hot
towel? It's like the sander.
Somebody give the man a hot towel.
Nothing. Okay.
Rocco's got everything.
Coming off. I feel it on the mustache.
This is a professional barber here.
Self-contained. That's Rocco Maggio.
Rocco, what would this have cost me if I had to come?
$30,000.
You?
Yeah.
$30,000.
What do you think?
Oh, now we're coming with the stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Interesting. Interesting dynamic here.
Did you sign that release before we started this?
Rocco goes in dry.
Rocco, this is a three-part exercise.
It takes a lot of work. There's not much there, but it's thick.
The closer you shave.
Take it off.
Now you're applying the lather. Is this the final?
Yes, it's about to go down.
Excuse me?
Are you using a butter knife or an actual razor on this coming?
Wait, here comes
a box cutter, actually.
Rocco, we might as well book you for 3 years from now to do it again.
Here comes Santa Claus on the Norelco.
There's not much there, he said. Story of my life.
Now this is where you right here where you dictate real barbers from barber with the straight razor. Okay, I'm gonna move away because I don't want him to make a mistake.
I'm nervous.
Do not wiggle. I'll hold it down for you.
Oh, this is like,
yeah.
This has all the potential of turning out to be a bad Western.
Yes.
Don't laugh, Mitch. Don't move.
Either the last hour will be by somebody else or Mitch will be feeling real good. Rocco knows what he's doing, though. Right now, he's using the straight razor. I don't want to say anything while he's on the straight razor on you, but I'm watching this go. Steve, you take over the play-by-play because I don't want to.
That is a good old-fashioned straight razor.
Yeah. Barbers, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to know what you're doing because.
You go in and.
Brought to you by Priority Health. Call 855-955-GIVE to help. Say Detroit and say something amazing. Now, Here's Mitch.
All right, we are back here at Somerset Collection in the North Port, 14th annual Say Detroit Radiothon, as we continue to raise money for the neediest citizens here in Detroit through all the charities of Say Detroit. 100% of what you give goes to help the needy. The administrative costs are taken care of privately. Kenny Brown, my partner in crime for the last, do you know that we're going on 30 years?
No, we're not talking about that. Yes,
Okay.
I know. Did you think we'd be doing this 14th?
I didn't think we'd be doing it 30 days.
Yeah, the first
I remember the first show. There was 30 minutes was in question at one point.
Are we canceled yet?
But we've been doing radiothons for almost half the time we've been on the air now. Thank you to WJR for granting us that. And many guests joining us throughout the day. Hank Azaria going to join us in a couple minutes. Right now, let's say hi to the coach of the Detroit Pistons, division leading first place Detroit Pistons,
Yes,
JB
indeed.
Bickerstaff. Hey, JB.
Hey, Mitch, how you guys doing? Hey, Kenny. You guys doing?
Hello.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Yes, indeed.
We're doing great. You're doing great. I mean, I know that you always say, well, we have high hopes at the beginning of every season. Did you really expect to be like 19-5 or anything like that? I forget what the record is, but it's close to that.
Yeah, first, before we get into that, I just want to say thank you for you guys doing this, right, and putting it on and raising money for our community. I think it's an amazing thing that you guys are doing. So I just wanted to tip my hat to you guys.
Thank you.
First and foremost, because, you know, it's so important what you guys do and use your platform to help others. So thank you guys for that. And, again, much respect for
Appreciate that, JB. Thank you. That's kind of you.
Yes, sir. No problem. And then, yeah, I mean, you know, you go into the season and, you know, you're always trying to figure out what you have and then how it translates, right? Because you know you took a step last year, you know you made progress, and then you go into training camp and you watch your guys compete, but they're competing against each other. So now it's like your best units aren't always together. You're still trying to figure out, you know, your combinations. And when we were in training camp, you know, as a coaching staff, we just realized how deep our team was and how many guys could compete, you know, against one another. And we knew because of, you know, where we finished last year that we could compete at a high level. You know, I don't think you ever go into a season with a number on your mind or a position on your mind. But we had confidence that if our guys, you know, played to our standard and played well enough, that we'd be competitive. And then, you know, I think we found out some things about ourselves in fourth quarters in particular, and especially when it's winning time.
Well, you're 19-5, but you say, how do you motivate a team that's 19-5? And then you could say, well, yeah, but Oklahoma City's 24-1, so we're not doing well enough. I'm like, I don't know how you win 24 out of 25 games in the NBA, but I thought winning 19 out of 24 is impressive. But I guess there's always somebody who's trying to outdo you.
Yeah, but for sure. But like what Oklahoma City does, they play for 48 minutes. You know what I mean? Like what their standards are, their expectations of themselves are for 48 minutes. And that's where we have room to improve. And that's why I'm even more excited about where we are, is because, you know, we don't feel like we've played our best basketball yet.
Well, you
have room to improve.
Yeah. Well, you're constantly, I mean, you know, everyone talks about Cade Cunningham, and he obviously is the superstar and is only getting better. But there's a lot of other players on this team that are contributing, and I think that that's what probably has stunned, you know, observers and casual observers even more, because they just assume there's one guy carrying the team, but that's not the case with the Pistons.
Well, yeah, I mean, you think about what Aaron is doing this year. You know, he's taken a huge leap, putting himself in position to be considered. You know, he should be.
And you've been watching the Say Detroit Radiothon live from the Somerset Collection in Troy, as Mitch is talking to Pistons head coach JB Bickerstaff. They're back on the floor tomorrow night, by the way, against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, Mitch and the team are expected to make a major announcement this afternoon at 2 p.m., and I'll be there for it. So you can see the Say Detroit Radiothon all day long here on Local 4 Plus. You can also see it, of course, on clickondetroit.com, and you can also hear it on the great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR. Now, we just saw the final rate decision of the year from the Fed. Coming up next, we'll find out what that means for the economy as well as your money. It's 8:40 on Local 4 Live. And welcome back to Local 4 Live. And here's a live look at the futures board. Now, it's showing stocks trending down right now, even after a Wall Street rally followed the Fed's decision to slash the key interest rate mortgages as well as auto loans, credit cards for the for the third time in a row. Now, the Fed is trying to thread the needle of maximizing employment, yet minimizing inflation. Here's our Jason Colthorpe with more.
The final call on interest rates in 2025 by the Federal Reserve caps off a turbulent year for the central bank and current chair Jerome Powell, and tees up an uncertain new year ahead.
The Federal Open Market Committee decided to lower our policy interest rate by a 0.25 percentage point.
Major inflation and jobs reports delayed by the recent government shutdown are not due out until later this month. However, economists say the Fed has enough private data about the U.S. labor market to see it is slowing. Cutting interest rates is aimed at encouraging businesses to borrow, spend, and hire more. It can also get consumers to start spending more.
When interest rates come down, that lowers the overnight lending rate that banks use to send money to each other overnight while we're all sleeping. That can lower the broader interest rate that people think about when you think about, the rate you've got on your credit card, the rate you've got on your mortgage.
Loosening the reins on borrowing also risks further heating up prices at a time when inflation remains stubborn, despite consumers saying they feel the pinch as Americans are spending this holiday season.
People are still spending. It is the holidays. So I think we're seeing credit card debt rise and buy now, pay later behavior is growing. So folks are still spending, but they're putting money in places where their debt is going up.
The Fed facing a growing economy on one hand and a slowing labor market on the other, making the 2026 outlook for interest rates murky.
Now, that was Local 4's Jason Colthorpe. Now, this decision was not made without some resistance. There were some members of the committee that were concerned that they're not paying enough attention to the inflation part of this or the high cost of living. And delayed government data on jobs and inflation is due next week, and it could shift the economic narrative. Now, while Wednesday was all about the snow, Thursday is all about the cold. Now, Brian Sherman's going to let us know just how cold it's going to get out here this weekend. And for all the winter lovers out there, I still do not understand you, but one destination just scored top honors when it comes to loving the snow. We'll tell you where that is when Local 4 Live returns. It's 8:45. And welcome back to Local 4 Live on this Thursday morning. And here's a live look at Mount Zion in the Upper Peninsula, all the way out there near Tom Izzo's hometown of Ironwood. And the UP just got some national recognition, according to USA Today's 10 Best Awards, that it's the best destination for snow. I mean, it's the UP. That's not a shock there. The UP beat out 19 other locations to take the top spot for the third straight year. USA Today says there's something magical about the snow-covered scenery and the chilly air that makes winter activities even more enjoyable, whether it's ice skating all the way out to sleigh rides. And while obviously we're not talking about the TLC Christmas song from the mid-90s, we are talking about people going on these sleigh rides as we get ready for Christmas. And I couldn't imagine how cold it's going to get up there if it's going to be that cold down here over the next few days.
Another Arctic air mass on the way as we head into the weekend. Today, though, the snow we had yesterday still, Jay, controlling our weather headlines. Exact Track 40 radar this morning, it's lit up with blue. Not like we had yesterday, still holding on to a few snowflakes as you're heading out the door early this morning. I'm expecting this trend to continue as we head through at least the start of today. But then we've got another round of snow moving in by the end of the week. Those flakes and cold temperatures topping my weather headlines this morning. More snow's on the way late Friday and into Saturday before that Arctic blast moves in by the end of the weekend and into the start of next week. Tower cam from Windsor looking across the river into downtown Detroit. Cloud cover sticking around this morning. 24 degrees here in downtown Detroit. But once you factor in that west wind at about 13 miles an hour, wind chills are into the teens and even some single digits early this morning north and east of the metro. These aren't going to move a whole lot thanks to the gusty winds and cold air sticking around heading throughout our Thursday. Our northwesterly flows kicked in last night into early this morning, so we're going to see a few snowflakes as we head throughout the day. It will not be widespread. Some of us will see them, some of us will not. Clouds and radar forecast by 2 to 2:15 this afternoon really holds on to a few blips of blue. Again, you may see them, you may not before it's all said and done. Then the cloud cover sticks around overnight tonight and into early on Friday morning. By the time we get to lunchtime on Friday, mostly cloudy skies can be expected. Then the snow moves in late Friday night into early Saturday morning. 11 to 11:30 on Friday night, clouds and radar forecast starts to show the blue again. This could leave a light accumulation overnight Friday night into early on Saturday morning. But once that system moves off to the east, things get dangerously cold. Our feels like forecast by the time we get to 5 a.m. on Sunday morning has wind chills, or what it feels like outside, of up to 10 to 15 degrees below zero. This is flirting with cold weather advisory criteria, so we'll have to keep a close eye on this as we work throughout the next couple of days. But if you're wanting a warm-up, hold on, it's on the way, and it may get here just in time for Christmas. The 8 to 14-day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, December 19th through Christmas Day, December 25th. Above average temperatures in play for a good chunk of the lower 48. That does include southeastern Michigan. So when we see that warm-up start to move in by the middle portions of next week, it may stick around right into the holiday season. 29 today, mostly cloudy skies, a few snowflakes and remaining cold. Winds gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour as we head throughout the bulk of the day here on Thursday. While we keep a few flakes into the forecast today, snow's back into the forecast late Friday night into part of Saturday. Then the dangerously cold air moves in with overnight lows Sunday morning and Monday morning well into the single digits. Then we start to warm things up early next week, right around 30 by Tuesday, upper 30s on the way by Wednesday. And Jay, that comes with a chance of rain, not snow.
Change into rain for once.
Yes, we're going to get some rain by the middle of next week. So anything that's down for snow, it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
So it's just hanging out, and this weekend's going to be pretty stiff, but at least we've got that on the other side of it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Brian. Now, this feels like it's becoming a yearly showdown. The Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. The teams are linked together for rather obvious reasons, and the Honolulu Blue Wave is likely headed out to LAX because, one, everywhere Lions fans roll, it's deep, and two, Los Angeles is a notoriously weak sports town, well, except for the Dodgers. We'll hear from head coach Dan Campbell along with quarterback Jared Goff about what they have to say about this matchup coming up when Local 4 Live returns. And welcome back to Local 4 Live. And you are looking live at the city of Los Angeles. It's 5:52 a.m. out there. The city of Los Angeles, home to Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, and this weekend, a massive wave of Honolulu blue and silver. Yes, indeed, it's a showdown between Jared Goff and some guy named Matthew Stafford, two former #1 overall picks who were traded for each other, who each have revitalized their respective franchises. This Sunday's game against the Los Angeles Rams is crucial for the Lions' playoff push. Now, Goff is in his 5th season in Detroit, having played more games here in Detroit than he did in Los Angeles. This will be the 4th time he's facing his former team, and the emotional ties have largely faded. But with postseason spots on the line, this game means everything for number 16.
I think we kind of talked about it earlier in the year of how it's kind of, my career now has spent more time here. So, yeah, it certainly feels like a long time ago.
Do you still feel like an emotional charge of playing?
No, not so much anymore. No. And really, we played them in that playoff game was such a big deal, and then the next year played them again, and that felt like even less. And so now it's even further removed, and yeah, they're a really good team, and we'll have our hands full.
Is that almost the new step of this? The past.
We're still talking about it. All right, go ahead.
Your time there is well in the past. Is it almost like this new chapter is the rivalry now between your Lions and?
Sure, yeah, I hope so. I think we're both really good teams. I got so much respect for those guys over there, and how well they're playing, how well they're coached. Certainly. The film I'm watching of their defense is really impressive, and Coach Shula's doing a great job. And then obviously we know what they're doing on offense, scoring all the points. Matthew's playing really well, and the whole thing. So yeah, we've got our hands full and got to find a way to win.
Now, speaking of Matthew Stafford, he also spoke yesterday ahead of this game, discussing the transition both he and Goff had to make 5 years ago after that trade.
They've had a ton of success since he's been there. He's been a great part of that. I think he does as good a job as anybody at getting the ball to his playmakers and letting those guys work. They are a special group, and I feel like he's a great distributor of the ball. So, yes, from that point, I do pay attention to him, but not because I used to play there or he's that. Just I'm paying attention to the game. And, I guess our post-game interactions have always been a ton of mutual respect. It wasn't an easy transition for anybody. You're moving across the country, your families are moving across the country, all those kind of things. You're going to a new team, doing all that. So I got a ton of respect for him, and hopefully he feels the same way towards me. The last couple times we played him, it's been great battles all the way down to the end. He's made some plays to help him win the game, and tip my cap to him. So, he's been playing really well.
Lions have beaten Stafford 2 out of the 3 times they faced off, by the way. Now, let's take a look at where we stand with the NFC playoff picture. There you see it. The 4 division leaders get seeds 1 through 4, and currently that's Philadelphia, Green Bay, Tampa, and the Rams. The wild card spots go to the next 3 teams, the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, and yes, the Chicago Bears. Now, the Lions sit a game behind Chicago, technically a half game, having beaten them already. And there you see the others, the Carolina Panthers and Dallas Cowboys. We don't acknowledge 5 and 8 teams as being in the playoff picture. Sorry, Minnesota. So the kickoff for this game on Sunday against the Rams is at 4:25 in LA at SoFi Stadium. And it depends on how well the rest of the season shakes out. The Lions could find their way into the postseason. Here's a look at the rest of the Lions' schedule. After the Rams on Sunday, they get Pittsburgh at home next Sunday at 4:25. The Vikings on Christmas Day in Minneapolis. And you see it right there, Lions and Bears, January 4th, time to be determined. The Lions need to win at least 3 of these games, if not all 4, to guarantee themselves a spot in the tournament in January. Now, another hour of Local 4 Live is coming your way at 9 o'clock, and we're going to get you caught up on, of course, one of the biggest stories in the country. Former Michigan head football coach Chiron Moore is out of a job and in the Washtenaw County Jail, and we're looking at the allegations that are being made against him. Plus, Instacart is set to use AI to set their prices, but is it actually going to cost you more? We'll take a look at that coming up. And Christmas lights are having a moment, and the spot that was named, and we're going to tell you the spot that was named one of the best in the country for Christmas lights coming up in the 9 o'clock hour of Local 4 Live right here on Local 4 Plus. We'll see you then. It's 9 o'clock on Local 4 Live. Welcome back on this Thursday morning. We're streaming right here on Local 4 Plus on WDIV YouTube page. And right now we are outside of the Washtenaw County Jail waiting for any sign of former Michigan head football coach Chiron Moore. He's in jail right now for assault after he got fired yesterday, and there are rumors swirling all over the place online about this. We'll tell you about what we know that's confirmed coming up. Plus, as Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan prepares to leave office on January 1st, he's taking us behind, should I say, inside some of his biggest negotiations and decisions, including what it took to bring the Pistons back downtown from the Palace. And the Powerball jackpot grew to $1 billion with a B overnight, and we've learned someone in Michigan will get a payout for part of last night's drawing. Local 4 Live starts right now.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome back to Local 4 Live for this 11th day in the month of December. I'm Jay Scott Smith, and we're still dealing with the fallout from yesterday's snow. Today, it's an icy cold mess on a Thursday with dozens of schools still closed today, and that includes the Pontiac School District, Clarkston Community Schools, and Marysville Schools. Now, we're going to get you a better idea of just how cold it is out there, starting right here in downtown Detroit, where it is currently 23 degrees, but it currently feels like 11. We're going to head out to Macomb County, where same thing, 23 degrees, also feels like 11 degrees. It's tough in the streets out here. And if you want to hit the slopes this weekend, Mount Brighton and Livingston counties officially open for the season. Right now, it is actually a touch warmer, 25 degrees. It also feels like 12. No matter what, make sure you dress up in layers and dress warm. Let's get a look at your traffic maps here. And your commute looks vastly different from yesterday. Plenty of green on that map, which is always a good thing. There are a few spots in yellows, and we see a couple of reds out there as well. But overall, this is just your typical morning rush around Southeast Michigan. We'll have a deeper look at the forecast with Brian Sherman later in this half hour. And the big story on this Thursday morning is one that everybody's been talking about. You're looking live right now at the Washtenaw County Jail. That's where now former Michigan head football coach Chiron Moore spent last night. He was fired by the program yesterday and was then later accused of assault. And Local 4 has confirmed that police detained Moore on Wednesday afternoon. Now, our Shante Passmore has been following the latest developments on this case.
Good morning. Right now, we are standing outside the Washtenaw County Jail where Chiron Moore is being held. And within the last 24 hours, bombshell developments surrounding over how the former head coach of U of M lost his job. Now, we should point out that this investigation spans multiple areas. So here's a look at that timeline. Pittsfield Township Police say officers responded to an alleged assault Wednesday around 4 p.m. Now, the department did not identify Moore as the suspect in their official release. However, it was the Saline Police Department that helped track and detain Moore, turning him over to Pittsfield Township PD. The University of Michigan fired Moore following an investigation and found he engaged in an inappropriate relationship. The university athletic director said the conduct violated university policy and emphasized the school's zero-tolerance stance. Local 4 did speak to a Michigan insider to walk us through the fallout, who's also reporting Moore is being held at a mental health institution.
This is nothing but bad for Michigan. There's no question about that. I will, however, give the leaders points for handling this apparently swiftly and concretely once they had all the information. But why it wasn't done earlier, I don't know. But you also have to give, I guess, some credit that they did it because they had the information they had, and then that was enough.
And we should also point out that this is all going down as the Wolverines brace for their next big game against Texas on New Year's Eve. Now the football program basically finds himself on the brink of having to rebuild its program. So coming up in the next 30 minutes, we're going to have much more on this very big story, plus how it's going to be challenging to find Moore's replacement. In Ann Arbor, Shante Passmore, Local 4.
Certainly hate to see that. We're going to be following this story all day long here on clickondetroit.com as well as on Local 4. We'll have every update at the top of our webpage, clickondetroit.com. And you'll also get alerts from the Click on Detroit app whenever there's a new development. Meanwhile, 3 people who've been accused in the plot to kill a Macomb County businessman are headed before a judge today. Jason Martin, along with Dawn and Richard Huffman, are accused of plotting and shooting Eddie Jawad outside of this home. Investigators say it was to cover up thousands of dollars of embezzlement from Jawad. He survived the shooting, and all three are due in court for a preliminary hearing later today. Plus, more testimony is expected in the case of Mario Willis, who was convicted in 2008 in connection with the death of Detroit firefighter Walter Harris. Now, Willis wants his conviction tossed after a key witness, Darian Dove, changed his story. Now, in court on Wednesday, his lawyers challenged the investigation and the investigator that found the fire was set intentionally.
Frankly, I'm not blaming you. It's not your fault you didn't know about Darian Dove. Nobody told you about Darian Dove, right?
Correct.
Till after the trial.
Correct.
Till after it was too late and Mr. Willis was already convicted, right?
Yes.
So as you sit here today with the evidence you presented about Darian Dove, you would have to say, as an ethical expert and intellectually honest expert, right now I'd have to say it's undetermined.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
4 is going to be in the courtroom all day long, and we'll have updates throughout the day on our newscasts right here on Local 4. And now we move to a story that we've been following for a while. It's the chaos at the Leland House over on Cass and Bagley in Detroit. Now, you may recall on Black Friday, residents were told they were going to have to move out, but then allowed to stay after the owner paid a nearly $57,000 debt to DTE Energy. Well, now they're being forced out again, this time because of a building malfunction that caused a power outage last night. And the fire marshal has ordered a mandatory evacuation until repairs are completed. This comes just a few days, in fact, less than a week after promises that the power would stay on after a court hearing, despite that money that was owed to DTE, who says the outage was caused not by them, but by a customer-owned set of equipment. The city is working to provide temporary housing for any displaced residents. Meanwhile, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel is warning people about a major data breach at 700 Credit. That's because names, addresses, and social security numbers might have been exposed. Nationwide, nearly 6 million people have been impacted, which includes 160,000 here in the state of Michigan. And Nessel says if you happen to get a letter from 700 Credit, don't ignore it. Monitor your credit for any signs of fraud. Meanwhile, someone in Michigan is $1 million richer right now. Unfortunately, not me. But the rest of you have a chance to become a billionaire. Here's why. Nobody matched the winning numbers for last night's Powerball drawing. That means the jackpot is now more than $1 billion with a B for Saturday's drawing. 3 tickets did hit for $1 million, however. One of those was sold in Michigan. If someone wins the big jackpot this weekend, it will be the 7th biggest grand prize in Powerball history. And the cash payout, by the way, in case you were wondering, a cool $461 million. Now, the city of Detroit is about to have a new leader for the first time in a dozen years. And our Rhonda Walker is sitting down with outgoing Mayor Mike Duggan as he prepares to leave office. Find out what he revealed about his biggest negotiations involving everything from GM to the Detroit Pistons. It's 9:08 on Local 4 Live. And welcome back to Local 4 Live on this Thursday morning. It's 10 after 9, and Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan will leave office in 3 weeks after spending 12 years leading Michigan's largest city, the second longest tenure in the city's history. He's reflecting on his time as mayor and talking about what he sees for Detroit in the future. Mayor Duggan sat down with our Rhonda Walker for a one-on-one exit interview.
Take me into some of the negotiations, like something that you remember that was extremely challenging. I mean, nitty gritty. I don't know if this is going to work at all, and then the outcome.
There are so many of them, but every one of these deals was hard to pull off. When, Mary Barra announced she was closing the Detroit Hamtramck plant, which was a shock. And I called, we were on the phone for a long time. Other people were attacking her and marching on her. I was saying, look, here's what Detroit has done for GM. Here's what I'm willing to do for you. Before you close anything, let's sit down. I spent a lot of time with Mary Barra and Mark Royce saying, okay, if we're going to convert to a different kind of a plant, trucks, not cars, potentially EVs, here's what we're going to need. And we worked it out. But this was true of everybody. I never sat down with anybody and said, give me charity. Now, the Pistons were probably the hardest. When Tom Goris bought the team, I sat down and said, come on downtown. And they said, we own the Palace. And they promptly put $30 million into renovating. And I said, I don't have any hope. Arn Tellem got put in charge of the team. I took him to dinner. I said the Detroit Pistons belong downtown. And he said, I agree with you, but the numbers have to work. And again, we had Chris Illich in the room, who was a terrific partner, together with Goris. And now you look at downtown Detroit, not just the basketball and hockey games, but every concert is now in downtown Detroit. You look at what that means to the city. Those kinds of, let's make this work for everybody. I think there's just a high degree of trust when you do business in Detroit. I'm not going to attack you. If the deal doesn't work out, I never say a word about you. But people are finding it a good place to do business.
And the thing is, once you start getting a few in, now everybody wants to come.
Oh, yeah.
How about that?
And almost every time they set a parts plant now, I get the first phone call. And there's times people have come in who said, I want to put in this parts plant. And I said, I got to knock down a building. It's going to take me 6 months. They said, we don't have that much time. I said, you know what? I can't help you. Move on to another site. And I find they appreciate that as much as the deals that we do make. They know that if I can't help, I'll be honest with them up front. And if I tell them I can't help, they know the deal is as good as done.
So we see a lot of businesses that are coming to Detroit. We have a lot of pride in the city, but the one area that is such frustration to a lot of us is our education system.
No question about it.
Nobody's coming here for the schools. In fact, a lot of people aren't coming here because of the schools. Why can't we fix it?
Yeah, and so, of course, the one thing that's not under the mayor is the public school system. And I think Dr. Vitti and the school board have done a good job with the resources they have. My biggest issue is the state of Michigan has diverted $1.3 billion of your 6-cent sales tax supposed to go to school aid fund to other things in the state budget. They've shorted DPS $75 million a year of money they were entitled to, which could have made a huge difference. And I realized the only way the schools were going to get fixed is if I went and took a different job.
Well, that's a good segue to what you're planning to do next. I've heard you say that being mayor wasn't even on your radar. So now all of a sudden, here at 6'7", you're on your way to trying to pursue the next role here in the city as the next governor of the state. Why?
So I'm impressed you know how to use 6'7". So
well,
that's good.
For your birthday, it actually worked for your age.
It actually does. In fact, I was out on the parade route, and the kids are saying, do it. And I said, how old do you think I am? It's 6'7".
There you go.
So I figured out how to bond with the 12-year-olds.
There you go. But yeah, a lot of people retire at that age. You're trying to take on the biggest job of your life.
I don't feel, my father retired at 83 and thought he was a slacker. So I don't feel anywhere near retirement. But you know, I look at where we are as a state, and I see the Republicans and Democrats tearing each other up in Lansing in a way I've never seen. And in the meantime, 60% of the third graders in Michigan cannot read at grade level. We lead the country in kids under 30 moving out. We're second in the country in unemployment, and these guys just keep fighting with each other because they want to be in charge and in the majority. And I finally looked at this and said, this reminds me so much of Detroit in 2013, where the political figures were so consumed with attacking each other and not solving the problems. I think I'd saying to the people of Michigan, if you feel like things are going well, fine, you've got a Republican and Democratic choice. If you feel like politics as usual is not serving us well, I'm going to give you a choice that says maybe we can actually spend our time solving your problems.
Do you really think you can have an impact on the divisiveness right now?
So when I ran for mayor, everybody said, you can't, it'll never succeed. You
That's
can't.
true.
You remember those days?
I do.
One of the even more popular than your news show sometimes was people going home watching the reruns of the city council meeting that day for all the chaos that went on.
I remember it.
People thought you could never get it, and you look at how professional the city council and the city of Detroit have run for the last 12 years. Our professionalism has become a competitive advantage. And I do think most people originally run for office because they want to do things. And I think there's nothing about teaching third graders to read that's Republican or Democratic. You teach the kids phonics, you put them in small group settings, you back the kids who are falling behind with real tutoring. You don't change the curriculum every 2 years the way Lansing's been doing it. And these children can read. It's been proven in state after state. I think I can get people in Michigan to do it without fighting with each other.
When you look at the city of Detroit and some of the benefits that we've had, some of the tax breaks that we've been able to benefit from, some of the federal funding that we've been able to benefit from that we're not going to have for the next mayor, what does that look like, and what advice are you giving?
Well, again, we got $827 million in American Rescue Plan money. And I sat down with council and said, this is going to be one-time money. We're not baking into the budget, so you have to lay people off. And council was really good about that. So we built new rec centers. We took down the Packard plant and the buildings that had held this city back for a long time. We built the Joe Louis Greenway. We did one-time things with that money that actually puts the city in stronger shape going forward. So I think the city is actually, we're going to announce next week, we finished last year with a huge budget surplus again that will carry over to the next mayor. In fact, I think it may be my biggest surplus yet that I'm turning over to Mayor Sheffield. So it'll be okay.
So what are some things that are in the pipeline? Like we've always seen from one mayor to the next, there's something that you worked on that's going to be big, but we may not see it for 4 or 5, 10 years.
I don't know about 4 or 5 or 10 years, but we were laughing today about the 100 buses that are coming in, the 70 new drivers we just hired, the mechanics, somewhere around next summer. We were talking about the fact that Mary Sheffield is going to be running a first-class DDOT system.
She's going to get all the credit.
And it's okay. It's okay, because it took me longer than it should have to get that in place. So there are things that I've done, but she was a partner every step of the way in that. But there will be some things. The benefits, certainly the Hudson's Tower will open, the JW Marriott will open, which will lead to more conventions. But there are things that Mayor Sheffield will do that will benefit the mayor that comes after her. That's the way a city's recovery should be. It should be one mayor building on the next.
And you did mention that, just one mayor building on the next, and that you're never going to be finished. There's always going to be something more that needs to be done. But what will be something that's coming up that you are really excited about?
I think what's going to happen on the Uniroyal site with Arntel bringing the WNBA franchise there, but a facility for high school basketball and volleyball and outdoor soccer and flag football. But also, I was pleased this week to see the state Senate move on the transformational brownfield bill, which not only will help Sterling Heights and Muskegon, it will allow the Renaissance Center project go forward so we can save 3 of those towers, and Dan Gilbert's going to build out a Navy pier. That's going to happen over 4 or 5 years. But those kinds of things, Detroit, the Riverfront Conservancy's done a lot. They set out to build a river walk. We are way past that now. We are building the most spectacular riverfront in America, and over the next 5 years, there's going to be nothing to compare to it.
That gives me chills, actually. When I think about, like, Navy Pier takes us back to Chicago. They built that years and years ago. As you just think about the city of Detroit, you know, what are we positioning ourselves for?
Well, Ronnie, you remember, I mean, 15, 20 years ago, I'd take my kids to Chicago, and I was so envious of their waterfront and the way they use that lakefront. You would drive down to go to the Shedd Aquarium. You would drive down to go to Navy Pier. And now to see people saying Detroit, and USA Today rating Detroit the best riverfront in America. We've come a long way in a short period of time.
We have come a long way, and it has been a short period of time. That's the thing that's just like so exciting, is that it's been able to happen so fast, and we just want to see that momentum continue.
Yeah, it feels good right now.
It does. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the impact that you've made, and good luck in your next chapter.
Thank you very much.
Now, you can see Rhonda's entire interview with the outgoing Mayor Mike Duggan right now on clickondetroit.com, as well as on Local 4's YouTube page. You can also do that after Local 4 Live, by the way. Now, we have more brutal cold coming in this week. Forewarned meteorologist Brian Sherman will check in with us after the break and let you know just how cold it's going to get around here. Plus, we're going to take you live inside the Detroit Zoo as we look at the Penguin House. The zoo just got a big honor for something that's going on right now, and we'll tell you what that is when Local 4 Live returns. It's 9:20. And welcome back to Local 4 Live. And you are looking live at the Detroit Zoo. In fact, that's the Penguin House out at the Detroit Zoo, because who doesn't want to start their day looking at penguins? When I worked at the Detroit Zoo when I was in college, we would occasionally go into what was the old Penguin House and see them do all the cool stuff they do inside there. Well, now the Detroit Zoo is getting some national recognition for something that doesn't involve the animals. USA Today has named wild lights at the Detroit Zoo one of the best zoo light displays in the United States. It features millions of LED lights and more than 500 glowing displays. Now, Wild Lights runs on select nights through January 4th. But if you're going to go out there, you're going to make sure, especially this weekend, that you are dressing very, very warm. Brian Sherman.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Still dealing with the snow that came throughout the day on Wednesday, and in some places north of Metro Detroit, this was an overproducing storm system yesterday. 7 inches of snow working up into Lake Orion, 6.2 inches of snow up in White Lake, 5 inches of snow up in Bloomfield Hills, 3.5 inches over in Ann Arbor, and 2 inches yesterday in Livonia. We'll keep a few snowflakes into the forecast for the rest of today, but nothing like what we saw working throughout our Wednesday. Cold temperatures and a few snowflakes topping my weather headlines this Thursday. Then we've got more chances for snow on the way by the time we get to the start of the weekend. That will be followed by another Arctic blast. We're talking sub-zero wind chills on the way by the end of the weekend and start of next week. A cold start out the door early this morning for everybody. Overnight lows early this morning, upper teens to lower 20s. And with the cloud cover and the few snowflakes, temperatures really aren't going to move a whole lot as we head throughout the entire day here on Thursday. Northwesterly flow kicking in early this morning. That's thanks to that low pressure system pulling off to the north and east. It's not a strong northwesterly flow, but that's going to keep the chance for a few snowflakes into the forecast throughout most of Thursday before we turn our attention to our next chance of snow moving in late Friday and into Saturday. What's been driving our active storm pattern this week is an upper level storm track, which is giving the flooding rains to the Pacific Northwest. That has been diving south into the Great Lakes into the Ohio Valley. Well, we're going to have another one coming right down from Canada, our traditional Clipper system, and that's going to bring the chance of some snow showers along and north of that storm track. But I do think for Metro Detroit, since we'll be very close to it, we'll see some of that snow late Friday night and into early on Saturday morning. Clouds and radar forecast keeps a few blips of blue in as we go through the rest of the afternoon and into into the evening hours tonight. We're done by 9, 10 o'clock tonight. Cloud cover sticks around overnight tonight and into early on Friday morning. By lunchtime on Friday, mostly cloudy skies can be expected. Then that snow moves in late Friday night by 10 to 11 o'clock Friday night and sticks around early on Saturday morning before I do think we wind it down Saturday toward lunchtime. Then the Arctic air mass comes in by the end of the weekend. This is our feels like forecast. Wind chills by 5 a.m. Sunday morning, running 10 to 15 below zero. So we will be flirting with cold weather advisory criteria. That sticks around into early next week on Monday. Then a warm-up's on the way. The 8 to 14-day temperature outlook December 19th through Christmas Day, December 25th, above average for a good chunk of the lower 48. That does include southeastern Michigan here. So I do see a warm-up on the way starting next week. That looks like it may stick around into the holidays as well. We're into the 20s the rest of the afternoon, upper 20s with winds gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour the rest of today. Then the next round of snow Friday night into Saturday. Arctic air moves in Sunday and Monday. Then a warm-up's on the way. We're into the upper 30s with a chance of rain by next Wednesday.
Thank you so much, Brian. Now, coming up here on Local 4 Live, if you're using Instacart, a new review from Consumer Reports finds that you might be overpaying for some of those items. And then the roads are going to be very busy over the holidays. We'll tell you the worst times to be out driving if you're heading out to see family or friends when Local 4 Live returns. And welcome back to Local 4 Live. And I've got a question for you. Are you driving anywhere for Christmas? Well, if you are, AAA expects the roads are going to be busier this year, and there are certain days you might want to avoid getting out on the roads. Now, the Christmas season is expected to be the least congested. So experts recommend that you avoid driving after 9 p.m. on December 20th and before 1 p.m. on December 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Meanwhile, if you're also using Instacart, you'll want to hear this next story. The app is using artificial intelligence to set the prices, and it could be costing you big time. Check this out. It's led to prices as much as 20% higher, depending on who you are. This is according to a review done by Consumer Reports and Groundwork Collaborative. Now, analysts say the online grocery delivery service is using AI to determine how price-sensitive staples are for a particular shopper. In other words, Instacart wants to know how much is too much before you decide not to buy that item. And the report finds that Instacart shoppers could be paying up to $1,200 more than other shoppers. So is using AI becoming a habit? Well, according to a new poll, many teenagers in the U.S. are using it in their daily routines. Survey results by the Pew Research Center show that as many as 64% of teens say that they use AI chatbots such as ChatGPT or Google's Gemini. About 28% of them say they use it daily. Whether it's becoming part of our daily lives or not, about 36% of teens say they don't use it at all. Now, research also shows that teens are putting it to use for schoolwork, unfortunately, emotional support, and creative projects, including music. Now, coming up here on Local 4 Live, we're going to take you out to Somerset Mall for Mitch Albom's Radiothon as he continues to raise money for charity today. And then we're headed back out to the Washtenaw County Jail in Ann Arbor. That's where former Michigan head football coach Chiron Moore spent last night. We'll have an update coming up at the bottom of the hour on Local 4 Live.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
And welcome back to Local 4 Live on this Thursday morning. I'm Jay Scott Smith, and we continue to keep an eye on the Washtenaw County Jail as we wait for any signs that former Michigan head football coach Chiron Moore might be released. Yes, the now former Michigan head football coach was fired yesterday after it was revealed he's been having an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. He was then taken into custody last night because of an assault investigation. Our Shante Passmore is in Ann Arbor with an update.
Good morning. A major development coming from overnight from a Michigan insider who is now reporting that Chiron Moore is detained in protective custody in a mental health institution. And now this revered football program finds itself caught up in this major headline. This morning, we are learning explosive details surrounding the now former head football coach. We can confirm that Moore is in Washtenaw County Jail due to an assault investigation. His run-in with police came just hours after he was fired as the head football coach yesterday. We have also confirmed Pittsfield Township Police are now handling the assault investigation. And it's really important to note here, Moore has not officially been charged with any crime. This new twist comes after the university confirmed to Local 4 Moore was fired over a relationship with a staffer. Who that staffer is or what their role was with the team has not been released. Meanwhile, a Michigan insider posted this on X, citing reliable sources, writing in part, this employee presented irrefutable documentation about Moore's conduct to U of M leaders. The president and regents had seen enough, and Manuel fired him.
It's clearly a severe situation, a serious situation. And Chiron Moore, man, he was given a job that he probably would otherwise not have gotten. As Jim Harbaugh's assistant, both Jim Harbaugh and Warde Manuel, the athletic director, believe that he was the guy for the job. But it's a lucky break from a huge break. And here he has squandered all of it. And on top of it, you mentioned the pragmatic question, which is what's going to happen with the coaching search. There are like 10 or 15 openings already. I think maybe more like 20 by now. So the coaching carousel has already long since begun, about a month or so ago. So Michigan will have some very heady competition to replace Chiron Moore in this situation.
And meanwhile, the athletic director said the university has zero tolerance policy on these incidents. We're in Ann Arbor. Shante Passmore, Local 4.
Thank you so much, Shante. In fact, we're going to take you back out to the Washtenaw County Jail right now. We're going to have crews covering this story all day long, and we'll have updates as they come in on clickondetroit.com and, of course, on Local 4. By the way, we'll also send you push alerts through the Click on Detroit app whenever there is a new development. Now, happening right now today at the Somerset Collection out in Troy, Mitch Albom is holding his annual Say Detroit Radiothon out there at Somerset. He's going to be on the air for 15 hours, raising money for his nonprofit. Now, we're going to be streaming this event all day long here on Local 4. Remember last hour we checked in on him. He was getting a shave, and he also spent some time talking to Detroit Piston head coach J.B. Bickerstaff. Now, they passed the $100,000 mark right about 7 a.m. during this telethon. We will take you there in a second, but just understand this is something that Mitch has done for years. And again, we're not just simply going to be streaming it here on Local 4 Plus. You can also listen to it on the radio on 760 WJR. Let's head out now to the Somerset Collection in Troy.
Detroit Radiothon.
The Radiothon.
Is generously brought to you by the A.A. Van Elslander Foundation. Call 855-955-GIVE to help. Say Detroit and say something amazing. Now, here's Mitch.
Say something amazing and help out your fellow citizens here in Detroit. I always see if you're driving around and listening to the Radiothon, roll down your window, roll down the other window, roll down the back window and the other back window, and then don't roll them back up. And see how long before you're freezing, and then recognize that there are people for whom that is home, sleeping in their cars. We don't need to remind you of the terrible incident that happened in February here in our city where 2 young children died from carbon monoxide poisoning because their mother was looking for a place for them to be sheltered. They parked in a casino parking lot in the car, and they slept in the car, and they left the engine running to have heat. So it's not so far-fetched. And there are many people like that, unfortunately. 1 in 19 children in Detroit is homeless. You can believe that for whatever reason, our children's homeless population went up like 40%.
Wow.
And so we are here to not only help them, but help students and help veterans and help seniors. And if you would like your donation read, not only read by the great comedian and voice impressionist Craig Gass, here you go.
And we're also being joined by the great Al Pacino this morning.
Al Pacino.
I'm here to tell you about some of these great donors, like Frank Condino from Macomb donated $300. We got $1,000 on behalf of the employees of Schrader Tire and Oil in Toledo. Hello, Toledo. Also, we got $500 from Martin Reno, Royal Oak. $25 in honor of Yvonne Denise Jake from Detroit. Cynthia Brash, $250. We got $450 from Karen Borland. Hi, Karen. And $70 in honor of Michael Arvidsson of Ann Arbor. $70. $50 in honor of Nancy Fredrickson in Redford. Another $40 for Nancy. And $200 in honor of the great Doug Smith, Pinckney.
Okay, Al. Dave Barry here with us still on our Zoom. By the way, if you're watching at home, you can watch this whole thing. If you're listening on the radio, you can watch everything on MitchAlbumRadiothon.com. Click on Detroit.com, WJR.com. There's about 1,000 places that you can see this.
Right.
And so you can see the great Dave Barry in his office.
And it's brilliant.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Al.
Is that where you do your best work, Dave?
I don't actually ever do my best work, Mitch.
But I do your mediocre work.
I do right here, yes.
Dave had a wonderful autobiography called Class Clown, which came out, was it last year that it came out?
Came out in May.
Yeah. May of this year. And it's a fantastic book and very moving and very touching. What did you find that experience like? I've had people say to me, "Oh, you got to write your life story," and I go, "Never, never. I will never, ever, ever write my life story." Were you like that earlier, and then did you decide at some point?
Well, I was kind of talked into it by my agent and editor, but because they said everybody's doing memoirs. So, but it was intimidating because like memoirs do really well, but usually they're people that people really want to know what their lives were like, and I wasn't sure that people were going to care that much about anything I had to say besides jokes. And like when I was writing it, the big bio that was out, the big memoir was Barbara Streisand's, which, and like in that, it's like 900 pages and she drops 50 trillion names.
Right.
At one point
And who
she
she
says,
slept with.
yeah, at one point she's like, I was on the phone with Warren Beatty. When I hung up, I thought, did I sleep with Warren? I don't remember. Maybe once, and I'm thinking like, how can I compete with that? Like I just want to say this on the air. I have never slept with Warren Beatty. Okay. Whatever you may hear. So how am I going to, but anyway, in the end, I did it anyway. And it was cathartic.
You slept with Warren Beatty?
Yes, I did. I thought like, why not?
You
If I'm
said
going to
in
write
the
a
end,
memoir,
I did it anyway.
if I'm going to write a memoir, I got to have something I can remember,
And how was it received? Like, was it a positive experience for you?
You mean sleeping with Warren Beatty or the
both?
Well, we're going to stop making that joke right now.
Okay, all right.
Before we get sued by Warren Beatty. And Warren, if you're out there, you never call, you never write. Anyway, no, it was received well. It got good reviews, and it was nice.
And do you find now, like, you run into people who know way more about you than you were comfortable with or ever thought they would?
Yeah, and that was a little, because like I wrote about my parents, and both my mom and dad had issues, and I wrote about them. They were wonderful people. They both had issues. So like a little, but then in the end, people were like, everybody has things, in their family, everybody. And so there was more like, it's nice to know that you two have things. So.
Things.
We have things.
They'll be talking about plenty of things on the Say Detroit Radiothon live at Somerset Mall all day long. Mitch and his team are expected to also make a big announcement around 2 p.m. I'll actually be there to check it out as well. You can watch the Say Detroit Radiothon all day long here on Local 4 Plus, as well as on clickondetroit.com. You can also listen to it the old-fashioned way on the great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR. Now, coming up, we're keeping an eye on the weather with some bitterly cold temperatures and more snow expected as we head toward the weekend. And then police say that they caught a delivery driver up in St. Clair County who'd been breaking into homes. We'll give you the spots he was targeting and a little bit of a history that he has with this sort of thing when Local 4 Live returns. And welcome back to Local 4 Live here on Local 4 Plus. And police up in St. Clair County believe that they have caught a serial home invader. The St. Clair County Sheriff says that this man, Deontay King, has been committing burglaries while he was working as a delivery driver. And the police say he's in jail for breaking into at least 7 homes, but there's much more to this story. Yes, we may be into the holiday season, but no, this man is certainly not Santa Claus. Between November 28th and December 3rd, the St. Clair County Sheriff's Office got 5 reports of home invasions across the county. All of them involved a delivery man in a box truck breaking into homes while on his supposed route. And after 2 more home invasions, police say that last Saturday they finally tracked down the man responsible for the break-ins, 32-year-old Deontay Daquan King. Now, King was stopped in a white box truck carrying the stolen merchandise not far from the 7th home that was burglarized, and he was eventually taken into custody. Detectives were able to match most of the recovered stolen items for return to their rightful owners. And this is far from the first time that King has gone on a robbing spree. King previously served 7 years in state prison for 5 other home invasions that he committed in Livonia back in 2016. King was arraigned in 72nd District Court on Tuesday, and bond was set at $200,000 cash. He's been charged with 1 count of felony first-degree home invasion and 5 counts of felony second-degree home invasion. And the Sheriff's Department says that residents need to keep their doors and windows locked, especially when they're not at home, and they have to be mindful this time of year about those delivery drivers. So yes, again, King is currently in jail in St. Clair County being held on a $200,000 cash bond. The sheriff's office saying, please be careful and be mindful of who you let into your homes to make deliveries during this holiday season. Now, coming up on Local 4 Live, we're going to tell you what New Year's Eve celebration here in the state of Michigan just beat out the one in Times Square for one of the best ways to ring in the new year. Plus, more snow and bitter cold is on the way for the weekend. Forewarned meteorologist Brian Sherman will have the details when Local 4 Live returns. It's 9:45 on Local 4 Live. And welcome back to Local 4 Live. Now, a small town in Michigan is getting national attention for the way they ring in the new year. Ludington, Michigan is hosting their 16th New Year's Eve ball drop this year. The city landed in 5th place of the top spots to celebrate the new year, according to USA Today's 10 Best Reader's Choice Awards for 2025. Last year, Ludington Celebration beat out New York Celebration, yes, the one in Times Square on that same list. And the celebration includes an outdoor beer garden, a DJ, fireworks, of course, a ball that has 6,000 glowing LED lights that drops at the count of midnight. Now, the one time I went to Times Square for New Year's Eve, it was brutally cold. Like, it was cold for hours, and you could feel it down in your feet. Unfortunately, it feels like this weekend we're kind of headed in that same direction in terms of the type of cold.
Yeah, we are. We are going to be heading into sub-zero territory for wind chills, air temperatures into the single digits this weekend. But we've still got another round of snow that's on the way before we get to that point. Snow totals yesterday in overproducer in some places north of I-696. 7 inches of snow yesterday in Lake Orion, 6.2 inches of snow in White Lake, 5 inches yesterday in Bloomfield Hills, 3.5 inches over in Ann Arbor, and 2 inches over in Livonia. We are going to see a few snowflakes as we head throughout the day, but no accumulation is expected, much like we had yesterday. Exact Track 40 radar looks worse than it actually is. A lot of light blue on there. That's our northwesterly fetch coming in with that lake effect snow drive happening. So don't be surprised to see a few flakes as you head outside through the rest of the morning and into the afternoon. Cold temperatures and those snowflakes topping my weather headlines this Thursday. Another round of snow moves in late Friday into the first half of the weekend on Saturday, and that is going to be followed by another Arctic blast with sub-zero wind chills on the way by the end of the weekend. Tower cam from Windsor looking across the river into downtown Detroit. Plenty of cloud cover this morning. 25 degrees here in Detroit, but once you factor in that west wind at 14 miles an hour, wind chills, or what it feels like outside, are into the teens and even some single digits earlier this morning north and east of Metro Detroit. We are going to keep the wind chills into the teens winds as we go throughout the rest of the day today. That northwesterly flow kicking in with that area of low pressure that brought that heavy wet snow yesterday, moving well off into New England. So we are going to keep a few blips of blue on clouds and radar forecasts as we head through the morning and into the afternoon. With those snow showers winding down by the mid to late evening hours tonight, the cloud cover sticks around overnight tonight and as you head out the door early on Friday morning. By 12 to 12:30 Friday afternoon, mostly cloudy skies can be expected. The snow doesn't move in until after sunset toward 10, 11 o'clock on Friday night and sticks around overnight into early on Saturday morning. I am looking at the potential for a light accumulation as we head into Friday night to Saturday morning. And then we get the Arctic air moving in with wind chills. Our feels like forecast by 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. Wind chills of 10 to 15 degrees below zero for what it'll feel like outside. This is closing in on cold weather advisory territory. So we're going to watch how this flows into the data as we go throughout the next couple of days. We do have a warm up on the way, though. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook brings above average temperatures in December 19 through December 25th, Christmas Day. So I am looking at a warm up on the way as we head into next week and heading into the holidays. 29 today, mostly cloudy skies, a few snowflakes or an isolated snow shower, winds gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour as we head throughout the day. Then snow moves in late Friday into Saturday. The Arctic blast moves in Sunday into early next week on Monday, but we warm things up. Upper 30s on the way with rain showers by the time we get to Wednesday. So, Jay, we do see a warm up, but it's going to take a few days before it gets here.
You got to get through the coldest part of this thing.
Absolutely.
Before we finally start to see it get to be a little more normal.
Can't wait for it to warm up a little bit.
I never thought I would be looking forward to 35 degrees as much as I
like
will
a
be.
heat wave, so.
Especially after what's coming this weekend.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Brian. Now, coming up on Local 4 Live, we're talking Lions-Rams. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford. All this sound familiar to you? Well, the lads are headed to L.A. for a massive game that could go a long way in determining their playoff chances. We'll hear from both QBs when Local 4 Live returns. And welcome back to Local 4 Live, and you are looking live at the beautiful city of Los Angeles. That's LAX, home to Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, and this weekend a massive Honolulu blue wave that's going to be coming through that airport because it's the showdown between Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, two former #1 overall picks who you might remember were traded for each other. Well, this Sunday's game against the Rams is crucial for the Lions' playoff push, and Goff, now in his 5th season in Detroit, having played more games here than he did with the Rams who drafted him. This will be his 4th time facing his former team. The Lions are 2-1 against the Rams in that time. And while the emotional ties may have faded with the postseason spots on the line, this game means everything for number 16.
I think we kind of talked about it earlier in the year of how it's kind of, you know, my career now has spent more time here. So, yeah, it certainly feels like a long time ago.
Do you still feel like an emotional charge of playing?
No, not so much anymore. No. And really, I mean, we played them in that playoff game was such a big deal, and then the next year played them again, and that felt like even less. And so now it's even further removed, and yeah, they're a really good team, and we'll have our hands full.
Is that almost the new step of this? The past.
We're still talking about it. All right, go ahead.
Your time there is well in the past. Is it almost like this new chapter is the rivalry now between your Lions and?
Sure, yeah, I hope so. I think we're both really good teams. I got so much respect for those guys over there, and how well they're playing, how well they're coached. You know, certainly. The film I'm watching of their defense is really impressive, and Coach Shula's doing a great job. And then obviously we know what they're doing on offense, scoring all the points. Matthew's playing really well, and the whole thing. So yeah, we've got our hands full and got to find a way to win.
Now, speaking of Matthew Stafford, he also spoke yesterday ahead of the game, discussing the transition both he and Goff had to make following that trade he demanded 5 years ago.
You know, they've had a ton of success since he's been there. He's been a great part of that. You know, I think he does as good a job as anybody getting the ball to his playmakers and letting those guys work. They are a special group, and I feel like he's a great distributor of the ball. So, yes, from that point, you know, I do pay attention to him, but not because I used to play there or he's that. Just I'm paying attention to the game. And, you know, I guess our post-game interactions have always been a ton of mutual respect. You know, it wasn't an easy transition for anybody. You know, you're moving across the country, your families are moving across the country, all those kind of things. You're going to a new team, doing all that. So I got a ton of respect for him, you know, and hopefully he feels the same way towards me. The last couple times we played him, it's been great battles all the way down to the end. He's made some plays to help him win the game, and tip my cap to him. So, you know, he's been playing really well.
Now, let's take a look at the playoff picture in the NFC. As you can see, the 4 division leaders, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Tampa, and the Rams. The wild card has Seattle, San Francisco, and the Chicago Bears. That's the team sitting in front of the Detroit Lions at 9-4. The Lions are 8-5, a game back of the Bears. It's really a half game because they put that 50 burger on them earlier this year. The kickoff for the Lions and Rams is at 4:25 at SoFi Stadium. Now, we got so much more coming up here today on Local 4. As Tati Amari and Kim DeJulio from Live in the D are here to join us right now with a preview of what's coming up at 11 o'clock.
Well, what's really up is your reaction to the Chicago Bears.
I was just going to say, I feel the same way. My blood is boiling looking at that.
My late friend Andy Isaac had a wonderful hashtag that I can't say on the air about the Chicago Bears.
Not even on the stream?
I'm not even going to risk it on the stream. Not going to do it.
Look it up if you're feeling
just look it up. You'll see it somewhere.
Not safe
out
for
there.
But yes, we've got a lot coming up on
Live
Live
my
in the
people
D.
in Chicago, just not the Bears.
There's not the so diplomatic.
What do we got going on today?
First,
it's already Thursday, by the way.
I don't know how that
is
happened.
So exciting. Every Thursday we do What's Happening in the D. It's like your guide to the weekend. What are you going to do with the kids? What are you going to do with the husband, the wife, or whatever it is? So many great events. April Morton has a whole lineup of amazing things, especially as we approach the holidays.
Absolutely.
This is when like all the fun events are happening.
Indeed. And speaking of holidays, I'm sure all the parents are out there are still shopping for their kids. We are going to have the Toy Insider join us, who is think of like a think tank for toys. And they're going to give us all of the TikTok trends. What's trending on TikTok? What's hot? Because that's where the kids are going to find out what toys they want under the tree this year.
So you don't have to do the scrolling yourself.
Correct.
Speaking of shopping, Birmingham is a great place to do the holiday shopping. Have you ever shopped in Birmingham?
I haven't been in Birmingham in a while, but I have been out there before. It is great out there.
It's gorgeous. It's so festive.
Very festive,
as well.
beautiful.
Yes.
It's very picturesque. And they're going to be here with their shopping district.
Exactly.
It's part of our Days of Giving giveaway. So good luck to everyone who's entered for that last opportunity at that $500 gift card.
I know. I'm sorry, Jay. You can't win.
Unfortunately. It's all right, though.
I entered as Patty Damare, so if that shows up, we know he's getting the gift card.
If you see a random Jason show up in there, that might be who you're looking for.
Son, Scott.
Ladies, thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you at 11 o'clock on Live in the D. And thank you for joining us for Local 4 Live on this Thursday. Mitch Albom's Radiothon is going to be streaming here all day long on Local 4 Plus. That's coming up next. And of course, we'll keep you updated on all the news coming out of Ann Arbor and across Southeast Michigan. Just go over to clickondetroit.com, the Click on Detroit app, or we'll see you right back on Local 4 starting at 12 noon. Have a great Thursday, everybody, and stay warm out there.
It's good because it is cold.